Zaccheus was a tax collector. In Luke chapter number 19, verses number 1 through 10, here's what it says. And Jesus entered and passed through Jericho, and behold, there was a man, look at this right here, named Zaccheus, which was the chief among the publicans, and he was rich. So we saw right there, even in this cartoon, sort of how he was very rich, and he was a chief tax collector. He was over all the other tax collectors. And whenever the tax collector had an issue with someone that was poor or they didn't know what to do, they would send him to the chief tax collector. And the chief tax collector would make a decision whether he would let that person go or relieve him of the debt or still make him pay. And what we saw that this chief collector, Zaccheus, what? He wanted the money. Not only wanted the money, he wanted more than what was expected. You know, that's that interest, usury. So he wanted more than what he actually had. Look at 3. It says, and he sought to see Jesus, who he was, and could not for the press, because he was what? He was little of stature. Little of stature means this right here. He wasn't real tall. Okay, so he wasn't able to see when Jesus was coming. So therefore, he had to go a little bit higher. He had to go somewhere in order to be able to see Jesus. And then look right here in verse number 4 right here. He says, and he ran before and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was to pass that way. So once Zacchaeus saw that he was going to pass a certain way, he saw a tree in that particular pathway. He went and climbed up that particular tree. Now, there's a couple of things in which I had seen there in those verses in which it made mention regarding Zacchaeus, who he was, and what he had to do once he found out that Jesus was coming that way. Then he wanted to see Jesus for himself. Now, this man right here was rich. Did he have all the type of resources that he needed? That he could have used all kinds of resources? What I saw here in this particular text right here is that not only does Zacchaeus have all these particular resources, but what Zacchaeus did, what he really wanted, okay, look, use what you got, okay, to get what you need. Okay, what Zacchaeus, he had everything. He had money, he had a house, he had all kinds of stuff, and he had people that worked for him and everything. But one thing in which he needed, in which he evidently knew, so he knew what he didn't have, was Jesus. And he sought to go see Jesus with what he had. What did he have? He had to use what he had. What did he have? Himself. Look, he had to go, and then he went to go follow the crowd. When he followed the crowd, he found out that what? He was not tall enough to see above the crowd. And because of that, what did he have to do? He had to climb a tree. A tree was there in order to see. So he climbed that tree just to see, amen, Jesus, the one who everyone else is coming to see. So he wanted to find out what all this about Jesus. That tells us something. Whenever we need something, we have to put some effort into it. Okay, we can't expect give-outs or handouts all the time. We have to put some effort into something in which we need. Yeah. We got to go and get it. Do you want an A in your class? Do you want an A? You want to pass? What do you have to do? You got to listen and do what else? You got to do what? Pay attention? Respect? Be obedient? What'd you say? Work hard. You have to put something into it. If you want something, you got to put something into it. Okay, ain't nobody going to give you everything that you want. When you're a child, yeah, a lot of times the parents will give you everything that you need. You ain't got to worry about nothing. But when you go to school, your parents can't take those tests for you.
That's right.
You got to study. You got to do all this stuff for yourself. And if you need a job, you got to go out and look for a job. Mama, daddy can't just give you no job, even though there's some folk that do that. But the thing is that some folk, and guess what? In order for you to go to college, your parents can't get you. Your parents ain't supposed to get you in no school. You're supposed to do that on your own. Take those tests and everything else. Then sometimes you got to get a job, because sometimes your parents don't have money in order to pay for things, pay for your books, pay for your classes, pay for this. You got to sometimes, not only do you have to go to school when you go to college, but also try to get a part-time job to help yourself. Because you still got to eat. Because you're going to be away from home maybe, and you still got to eat. They don't give out free luncheon over there in college. Now you got to get that on your own. And I learned that myself. By the time I make it back home to try to get something to eat, the food's already gone. So you have to think about these things, because you're not going to get handouts all the time. You got to take out the trash and everything. You got to do all these things. Because you're the one that's getting a meal every day. You're the one that's getting clothes put on you. You're the one that's got shelter. You're the one that's being transported here and there. You're the one that's being supported by these things. So you got to put some effort into doing things. We need a job. We got to get up and we got to go and search and look for a job. If you need to be healed of an illness, you got to get up and make some action or do something if you want that to happen, amen, in your life. If you need a wife, you got to go and what? Find her. You got to search her. That's right. You got to catch her. And if you need a husband, you got to run slowly and hide in plain sight. So if you need something, you got to go out and take effort and do something about it. If you need to change your life like Zaccheus did, you got to take the first step. You just can't sit back and just wait on something to be given to you in order for something to happen. If you want something to be done better, guess what? And you have an idea how it can be done better, then what? You're supposed to take a first step and do something about it. Zaccheus, he got up and he went to go search out for Jesus. What he didn't know, Jesus was already on his radar. Amen. Yes, he climbed that tree and everything to see what he can see, to see what all the ruckus is all about. Somebody who he may have heard of or didn't know, but an opportunity for him to come face to face, or even at least to see him. There is something in which I found over in Matthew chapter number 7, verses 7 through 8. And this is what it says over in Matthew 7 through 8. It says, "Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you." Verse 8 says, "For everyone that asketh," what? "Receiveth. And he that seeketh, findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be open." Meaning that you got to do something. Ain't nobody going to knock for you. Ain't nobody going to ask for you. Ain't nobody going to seek for you. You got to do it for yourself. Amen. But the Bible says when you do that, things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. So we still got to do something. We still got to take some type of action if we want any type of change in our lives. Zaccheus got up and he went to go find out what's going on. Just like we do whenever we hear something going on, we want to find out. Sometimes we want to get to the root of it. We want to find out what's going on. What's the hearsay? What's happening? When folk be talking and everything. You want to find out for yourself. You want to be all of a sudden become an investigator. You could have, applied to be an investigator. And especially if you one who really find out what's going on. You can't do that. They have those jobs out there. And then look at here at verses 5 and 6. It says in verse number 5, "And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and saw and said unto him," talking about Zaccheus, "Make haste and come down, for today I must abide at thy house." Verse number 6 says, "And he made haste and came down out of that tree so fast and received him joyfully." Zaccheus was so happy that he was recognized by Jesus. Not only that, but also Jesus called him by his name. Don't you know that Jesus knows your name? He knows everyone's name. He knows the names of every star, amen, in the sky. Amen. Jesus knows everything. And we got to acknowledge that. If Jesus knows us, then it's necessary for us to get to know Jesus. Amen. We got to know who he is. We got to know what he has done, amen, for us. Who woke you up this morning? It was Jesus. Who started you on your way? It was Jesus. Amen. Who saved you? It was Jesus. Jesus. We got to get to know him. If you don't already know him. If we already know him, we got to get to know him a little bit better. A little bit more. Amen. So his name just flows off, amen, from our lips and our tongue and just say Jesus. Amen. Situations come in our lives, we just say Jesus. Yes, he sought Zaccheus out. Zaccheus really didn't understand. But look, 5 and 6, when you get what you need, be joyful. And that's what Zaccheus did. He was joyful when Jesus stopped and saw him out. Stopped there. Called him by name. Said, come down. He said, today I must abide. I must remain. I must stay at your house. When Jesus decides to stop by your house, will you be ready? Zaccheus said, yes. Come on. He ain't talking about all the dirt out, the dust out of the corners and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter about all that stuff. When Jesus comes in, he'll clean us out. So you ain't got to try to do it yourself because you know what? We haven't been doing a good job this far anyways. So it takes Jesus, amen, to do just what needs to be done in our lives. Amen. If we need some obedience in our lives, all we got to do is call on Jesus. When we call on Jesus, we got to do a little bit more than just call on his name. Amen. We got to, obey him. We got to surrender to him. And when we surrender to him, his Holy Ghost is inside of us. And when his Holy Ghost is inside of us, amen, he takes control. He takes control because we give him control. So therefore, if we want obedience, we got to, amen, be obedient to the Holy Spirit. If we want to do things right, we got to surrender to God. If we want to obey our parents, we got to surrender to God first. If we want to do good in school, we got to pray to God first. God, I don't fully understand what this amen question is all about. I don't understand about this whole class, but God, I need your help. I need you to help my mind. I need you to help me understand this class. I want to learn how to play the drums, God. God, give me the gift in my hands to be able to play the drums. I want to play the piano. God, give me the gift to be able to play the piano, God. Because when I do this, I want to do this for your glory. Yes. And God will do it. Yes, he will. But when you get what you need, be joyful about it. Be happy about it. Look at verses 7 through 8. It says that, and when they saw it, look, they, though people that's sitting back watching. You see, those are the watchers there. So those watchers turn from watching to complaining. Look what happens. And when they saw it, they all what? Look at verse number 7. It said what? They all what? They all murmured. They all grumbled. You know how it is when somebody grumble? You know, when folk murmur, when folk grumble, you know what happens? You can see it on their face. You got here. Got their face changed. The wrinkles get right there in the middle of your eye, between your eyes and stuff like that. And, kind of like a frown begin to happen. So you ain't got to hear nothing. All you got to do is see it. So what happened? They began to grumble and complain, saying this right here, that he was gone. Talking about Jesus, that he was going to be a guest with the man that is what? A sinner. As if they weren't a sinner. You see, a lot of times what happens is that when God delivers us, we think that we've never been there before. We see somebody else there. We just look down. Look. We don't look at it. We look down upon them. You know. And then whenever they do something that you don't like, we really look down upon them. And then I remember Paul saying, and somewhere as you, or you were just like that. How quickly we forget where God has brought us from. If we're not careful, we can go back there just as fast. It doesn't take a whole lot. That old man is just waiting to get out. So yes, here at 7, 8, and then verse 8 says, and Zaccheus stood and said unto the Lord, when God is in your presence, but Zaccheus stood and said unto the Lord, behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I've taken anything from any man, y'all catch that? Yeah. He know what he did, just like we know what we did. And we throw that if in there as we try to get ourselves off the hook. If we're on the hook, we're on the hook. We might as well what? Fess up and just deal with it. He says it right here, behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I've taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him, look at this, fourfold. That's an Old Testament rendering of the law. But look, here's what happens is that this man right here was in the presence of Jesus. Yes. Don't you know when you get in his presence? You see, the Bible says where two or three are gathered in his name, there he is in the midst. When we get in the presence of God, something happens. The Holy Ghost begin to work inside of us. All that stuff in there that ain't right begin to like start making you feel uneasy. We start saying stuff that normally we wouldn't even say. We start confessing. We start doing all kinds of stuff. I say, God, I'm sorry, God. From now on, you know how this we start saying from now on, from now on, from now on. We're good at saying what? From now on. And from now on, amen, after a good week or two, begin to take a different understanding of that. I really didn't mean that. What I was saying was, from now on, to say, God, from now on, I'm going to serve you. I'm going to do this, God. I'm going to do that. Thank you, God, for just bringing me through. Thank you for just doing this, God. Oh, boy. Oh, we be on it. Yeah. Hot like fire. We say, put the coal in my mouth. Touch my tongue with it, God. Doesn't matter where you put me. I'm going to make it because, God, I love you so much. Man, we on fire. Somewhere I remember Paul saying, you did run well. Who did hinder you? It's the devil that hinders us all the time. He throws stuff in our way and we become, bombarded with the world. We become bombarded with issues in our lives. We become bombarded with our work. We become bombarded with extra money. We become bombarded with all kinds of stuff that knocks us off track. Then we'll come up with another excuse. Zaccheus didn't have none. As a matter of fact, not one time did I hear or see Jesus, even though we saw the little video clip, but here in the Bible I didn't see one time that Jesus turned around and started harassing him. He just went in his house. He said, today I need to come to your house. Yes. Zaccheus allowed him to come in. Invited him in. Be careful when we invite him in. Because when he comes in, some action is going to happen. Yes, sir. You see, some work is going to happen in our lives. You see, here he goes on and says all of this, but not only you use what you got to get what you need, means you have to put some effort into it. Secondly, when you get what you need, be joyful or happy about it. Verse 7 and 8 talked about how the folk would begin to murmur and stuff because Jesus went over that sinner's house. And then Zaccheus stood because he was in the presence of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Amen. Stood and began to start saying some stuff. He just said, behold, Lord, I give half of my goods, I give to the poor, and if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I hear by false accusation, I restore him fourfold. So basically he's saying, God, just saying, I'm gonna get rid of all this. I'm gonna give everybody that I took from, I'm gonna give it back to him and stuff like that. Last one, number 3 says, look, you have to, when you get what you need, you have to get rid of some things. You have to just let it go. Got to let it go. When God comes into your life, when Jesus comes into your life, when you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior, some of the things you just have to let go. If I need that job, I hear the word need. You basically ain't got one. Then God blesses me with that job. Yes. I'm going to let some things go that I was carrying with me while I was unemployed. Yes. That kept me unemployed. I got to what? I got to let it go. Those issues that I had in my life, and God brought me through, delivered me. There were some things in which have kept me from really serving Him. I got to do what? Let those things go. It's not about me. Because now I have realized that it's all about Him. I'm the one that sought Him out. I'm the one that began to look for Him, for my answers to my troubles. I'm the one that asked Him to come and deliver me. I'm the one that said, I do whatever you would have me to do. I've been there. And then once you get through something, all that stuff can come right smack in your face like, whoa, I made a vow. That one song, and I won't take it back. I guess it's something like that. Well, at least it sounds almost good. But got to get rid of some things. Can't hold on to the things that kept you from what God had for you. Zaccheus, he had to let go of some things that kept him in the state in which he was in. I like what the video clip said. You can't, told him, Jesus said, you can't serve two masters. You can't serve God and then turn around and serve money. You see, either love one or hate the other. So you got to choose this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, I'll serve the Lord. Can't you just turn your neighbor and tell your neighbor to let it go? You got to just let it go. If it's hindering you, if it's keeping you from what God has, just let it go. Bible lets us know if we have malice, just let it go. You have guile, just let it go. Hypocrisies, let it go. Envy and slander, which is evil speakings, let it go. Anger. How many of us got anger issues? We got to what? Let it go. Wrath. Blasphemies. We got to let all that stuff go. Because if we don't let all that stuff go, it hinders us from going where God will take us. It's willing to take us. But the devil will take us, as we have often heard before, farther than where we wanted to go. And make us stay what? Longer than I wanted to stay. He said, I got what you want. But Jesus is saying, I got what you need. Zaccheus, we saw he got what he needed. God is asking us, do we really have what we need? Are we lacking anything? The Bible lets us know if we lack, all we have to do is ask. Ask Him. Ask, seek, and knock. And He'll do it. The Bible also said nothing will be kept from us. Yes. After all, we belong to Him. So we can ask whatever we need. Children, if you go into a candy store, we tell you you can get whatever you want. What would you get?
I'll get Tootsie Rolls.
Oh, now what happens is that God does wants us to be specific. Tootsie Rolls. How about you?
Smarties.
Smarties?
Individuals.
What's that?
Individuals.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. You got one more? Yeah, you got one more. You got one more.
You got cookie and cream Hershey's.
Cookie and cream Hershey's. You got want? Are you healthy? What you want?
Twix.
You eat healthy too. All right. Yo, what you want? Out of the candy store. Oh, look at that. That's all right. So we can go from being specific with God, guess what, y'all, to general. But keep in mind, when we are specific, we're serious about it. We are honed in about it. If I got a cold, I'm going to pray for healing for what? A toe ache, right? Believe? I'm going to pray for a toe ache when I got a cold, right? What am I praying for? Oh, he said get healed of that snot and all that. That's all right. That's what I'm talking about, because you got to be specific, because that's something, it's not too cool. That's right. You want some deliverance. So when we're specific, we ask God. If I'm taking that science test, that math test, that English test, whatever it is, and I'm having some troubles with something, and my parents really can't help me all that much. The teacher said something, and I didn't fully understand it. But I'm going to ask God. God, help me for understanding in this. Because I forgot. I don't know. And guess what God will do? He'll help you if you're for real about it. But don't expect him just to drop something down from heaven. He wants you to open up the book. And he wants you to study some more. And he'll reveal that to you. So Zaccheus, he was on the right track. He looked for Jesus. Not only did he look for him, but he found him. And when he found him, he got what he needed. Saints, we need to be like Zaccheus and get what we need. And we can get it from Jesus. The door of the church is open. Let us stand.